Welcome to the Sigma Show. I'm your host, Sigma. This is episode 39, I think. We're getting off to. We were gone like a single week thanks to the tournament, but more about that later. I'll let you know who's joining me today as soon as I go through these topics. First up, we will be talking about everything that happened at the PS5 showcase this past week. They not PS5 showcase, the PlayStation showcase. It's just they focus on a lot of PS5 stuff. So we'll talk about that in detail. And we finally got the verdict to the Apple versus Epic trial that was the talk of the town not too long ago. We'll get into the nitty gritty of exactly how this affects Apple, how this affects Apple. What is an Apple? How this affects Epic, and how it affects us as consumers. Yeah, that's their relationship name. But to join me in discussing these topics, once again, Rachel Kaiser.
Hi, I'm Rachel, and I am a columnist at The Escapist alongside Casey and Will. And if you want to hear me talk about video games, that's what I'm here for, and I'm glad to be back.
And we're glad to have you back. Like Rachel said, also joined by Will.
I muted myself because I say bad things. Hello, everyone. I have been ducking KC because I don't like him, but I'm happy to be back.
I'm here for Jeff. Is what he means.
I'm here for Jeff and Rachel.
He doesn't like how scared of me he is what he means.
What is that? In Smash, yes. In everything else, not so much. And I'm just here to talk about how Donda's a trash album.
Wow. Okay, we're gonna come back to this. You will not leave this show without that being addressed. But before we get to that. Also being joined by Superman Jeff.
Yep.
I love that one.
Yep. Jeff, if they start talking about that, you and I can go.
There you go.
We'll just be on a 24-hour stream. Are you out of your goddamn mind?
Oh, man. Okay, so usually the past couple of weeks, we've been updating you guys on the latest in terms of the Activision Blizzard situation. Unfortunately, Activision Blizzard have not really made any new statements or said any new things in regards to what steps they're taking to kind of rectify that situation. So we kind of don't have any news to offer up. That being said, we do know that they still haven't met the demands of the employees. They haven't even kind of acknowledged them, as far as I can tell. Like, they haven't said, like, oh, we hear what you want and we're going to set up some sort of dialogue. And like, no, they just kind of full sail ignored that they had a list of things that they wanted addressed and instead kind of did what they wanted to do, which includes removing their name from or removing their logo from all the latest Call of Duty stuff that's coming out because they still need to get that game out and to sell it, and changing the name of McCree at some point. So I guess that's a win for everybody in a way.
Yeah.
I don't know. But outside of that, we're going to open things up with what we've been playing and watching and reading and listening to. Hint, hint. Anybody feel like going first?
I can go first.
Go right ahead.
I've gotten back into Hades, actually.
Ooh.
Oh, cool. Yeah, because that dropped on Game Pass.
My best friend has been streaming it lately since it launched on PS5.
Wait, and, Nick J. Cal is your best friend?
Exactly.
D. Jerome? That's crazy.
Absolutely, yes. We're so much closer than you guys realize. But yes. But yeah, I'm the one who got my best friend. I'm the one who got her into the game. So I tuned into the stream to see how she was doing. So because she's so much better at it than I am, I'm just gonna admit that up front. But just seeing her enjoy it so much, I thought, I really enjoyed that game, and I never actually got to the I didn't get as far as I wanted to in the game. That's all I'm gonna say on the topic. I started playing it again, and I actually played on a keyboard and mouse this time because I have the game on PC. And I'm actually not as bad as I thought I was. Apparently, it's just playing with a controller that was throwing me off.
Oh, so you're better playing on keyboard and mouse than with the controller.
Beg pardon?
You're better at keyboard and mouse than the controller in Hades, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I was using the controller because I'm better with a controller on action games. Like, I play Devil May Cry or Bayonetta with a controller, and I'm much better than I am with a mouse and keyboard. So I automatically defaulted to the controller when I started playing Hades. And so, but I didn't want to bother with because my controller's broken right now. So I just went to mouse and keyboard and like, wow, I'm doing much better this time around. Maybe it's starting fresh. Maybe that's helping me as well. I don't know. Could be that.
Sometimes it
Well,
depends on the game. Listen, when I played like Minecraft, like Dungeons, I was like, this is a really weird game to play first and foremost because I'm not into that sort of scene. And then I was playing it on a controller. My friend's like, try keyboard and mouse, and it felt weird at first, but once I got past like the initial, I guess, dive into it, I was like, holy shit, this is so much easier. I just boop boop boop. I feel weird, honestly. I feel like I'm hacking like the embassy, but oh, it is way easier.
Oh, it's all relative, by the way, because my friend plays with a controller on the PS5, and
Uh-huh.
again, she's still better than I am.
Oh,
She's like 12 runs in, and she's already battling Hades. I get 12
jeez.
runs in, and I've barely like made it.
Scratch the
I've barely made
surface.
it past the Bone Hydra, even on mouse and
dang.
keyboard when I'm better. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
so
feel that.
props to her. So yeah, so it's nothing against keyboard, nothing against controllers at all, because clearly it's just me. That's the common factor here.
Well, I do find that interesting that you were playing it a bunch early on, came back to it and found it easier. Because I remember Jeff, you mentioned something about that yourself because you played it on Switch back in the day, and then
Right.
started playing it on Xbox now that it released on Game Pass, and also had the notion that it was easier. And I chalked it up to the controls because the Switch Joy Cons are garbage. Like I've said that multiple times. And then you move from that to the 360 Xbox One Series S style controller. Like it's a much better feeling controller. So I attribute it to that. Maybe they did make the game a little easier since launch. Like have there been updates or something?
I do
I
know for one
Uh,
thing, I when I played on Switch, I didn't know there was a God mode either. So when you die, you can trigger it so that way you take like less damage for a
Hmm.
certain amount of time. I didn't know that was on Switch, but I guess it was. I just never used it. But also like just the overall movement feels a little bit more fluid as well. Like my first playthrough, like Athena was saying, I made it through like to the what's her name? Her first name begins with an M. She's the first boss on the first
Megara.
level. Yeah. I made it to her and then died on my first playthrough on the Switch. But then like on the Xbox, like I had to cut it off early because I had a stream because I was still going. So it's like it does feel a little bit easier. I don't know why, but it does.
It could just
It
be
might be.
experience, maybe.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Sometimes when you revisit things and you just have like a fresh set of eyes and you're not really worried too much about it, you already know what you're doing. That helps. But also, I think there's motivating factors, kind of like Rachel said. Everyone else is playing it. I would never get into it. I just can't. I hate I can't. It's not for me. But the fact that I had a lot of friends who were like, played it at launch, I tried it for a bit, and then when they started seeing streamers or their other friends do it, they're like, well, helpful tips, and then just kind of knowing at that point, oh, okay, I can expect this, or it's a confidence thing. It's a mentality thing on top of that. So
True.
Yeah, and it could also be that whole thing where, you struggle with a game, and then, you say, okay, I gotta cut it off, I go to bed, and then I'll try it again in the morning. You try it again in the morning, and you're
Yeah, the
better at it.
first
Maybe
try.
it's
yeah,
just
Yep.
it is literally just a long version of that, needing to just step back
for
for a
sure.
bit and get back into it. It's like, oh, well, I'm better now.
Yeah, for sure happens all
Lampy,
the time.
Lampy said they made it easier for casuals on Xbox and PC. Hard,
Wow.
hard,
Look at the
hardcore
shade.
play on the Switch.
Lampy
That's
with
a
the
sentence
shade.
that
How
was not
fitting.
true. Wow.
I didn't think anyone was going to get that one, but thank you, Will.
No,
I knew there
no,
was a reason I
absolutely
invited
not.
you to this show. But anyway, was that it for you, Rachel? Did you have any other games or TV shows that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I've actually been watching C, and that one is so that I can write about
Mm.
it for The Escapist. And I hate it. It's awful. Don't watch it. No,
That
it's
Oh,
is
not.
that's the complete
that's
opposite opinion I've been hearing from because Nick and Marty were basically trying to get me on the Apple TV train, right? And
Mm.
C is one of the ones that they're like trying to sell me on. So it's hilarious that you're saying it's awful and not to watch it. I need to hear your opinion now.
Well, okay, I will say that it's so far we're into season 2, and my whole take on season 1 was I really enjoyed the lore building, the world building, and I want them to explore more of what the politics are like in this world, and how people adapt to situations that we didn't see in the first season. And I said the problem is the show needs to figure out what it wants to be. Does it want to be a political show? Does it want to be a TV version of Apocalypse Now, which is sort of what the whole season is? It's one long journey to find one specific person who only appears at the very end and is kind of an asshole, if you'll pardon my language. So basically, yeah, Apocalypse Now is a TV show, and but now I realize the show has figured out what it wants to be, and it wants to be Game of Thrones. I mean, so very much.
Mm,
And my problem with that is that the characters are not as clever as early Game of Thrones characters are, which is
Mhm.
what made Game of Thrones Fall of Grace so hard to take, was because the characters were really good at the start and then they became really bad.
Yeah, they kind
In
of
this one, the
assassinated them all.
characters, yeah. And I mean, maybe it's overstating to say I hated it. I hated the most recent episode. I'll put it that way. But we only have 3 episodes to go on so far.
mm.
So it could get better. We have 5 more episodes to go before the end of the season. I'm just not that impressed with what I've seen so far. I don't want to spoil
Gotcha.
anything.
Okay.
So
Is that
Because I probably
is
will
that
still try to check it out.
Yeah.
is that the show with Jason Momoa?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so I'm not watching it. That's as simple as that.
Wait, what do you got against Jason Momoa now?
He's not that great of an actor.
Oh,
When did that stop you
went
from
there.
watching like anything else?
Well, I'm just
Oh.
saying, like, there's certain shows, like, for example, I'm not gonna watch a Mark Wahlberg movie and have high expectations. It's Mark Wahlberg being Mark Wahlberg. I can't even speak, but is it like something I really want to watch? Or is it like, do I want to watch Batista, even though I do think he has better acting chops? But like,
Batista's not
do I
bad.
want to?
Yeah, like I think he's fine.
Yo,
in
I'm
everything he's
saying
done.
there's certain things like I wouldn't like. Am I gonna expect a real banger from like a Will Ferrell thing if he tried to do like a serious movie? Not really.
he did one. Stranger Things or Stranger Than Fiction.
Yeah, and I didn't like it.
It was pretty good.
I know a lot of
Dave-
people did.
For the
What were you
record,
saying?
Dave Bautista's been like in 5 minutes of the first season so far, or
Oh,
at least the
well
first
then-
2 episodes. So
Now I'm gonna watch the first 2 episodes and just boop. I can't even speak. Pardon me.
Okay, well
that's me. That was my week.
okay. Well, let me jump off of that point because I actually did start watching the show on Apple TV because I was also getting sold on it because of Jason Sudeikis' show Ted Lasso.
Mhm.
If you don't know, it's a comedy about a football coach who gets hired by an English football team, and so he he basically travels overseas to coach.
Wasn't that an episode of Family Guy?
Was it? You know what? I think it was an episode of Family Guy.
That was an episode of Family Guy.
And it's funny that you bring up Family Guy because that's kind of Ted Lasso's whole comedy bit. Well, it's a big part of his comedy bit. Like almost every sentence this man says is a metaphor or a simile. Like he'll be like, "Oh, well, that's as bad as blah 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 in a soda cream shop." I don't know. The stuff that comes out of his mouth is like super
You're not
non
selling the show.
sequitur. Like, but they don't cut to it. It's just everything he says has nothing to do with anything else. It's just like a spur of the moment joke. And often, most of the time, it's funny. So like, I can't even hate on it. But I am liking the show. It's very hilarious. There's a lot of heart to it. And the thing that people have been kind of drawn to it for is the fact that it's kind of overwhelmingly positive. Like it's a very feel good type of show, which, you know, a lot of stuff nowadays tends to, you know, be kind of depression focused and just they want to make you sad and try to get some feels out of you. There are feels here, but they make you feel happy. So like that's kind of a nice change of pace. It's been a while since I had a show that like genuinely made me happy while watching it.
Yeah, I feel.
Yeah, but I also tried to start Mythic Quest. Only watched episode 1, and I've heard that that's the worst episode. But
Wow.
I didn't think it was that bad.
Mythic
So
Quest owned by which company?
Yes. Yeah, it's a Ubisoft production. All the footage that they use, which I find very funny, all the footage that they use to talk about the fake game in their show are like different Ubisoft games. So like they'll show you like Assassin's Creed Valhalla footage. They'll show you For Honor footage, like stuff like that. So I just find that really funny because none of this is the game that they're saying it is. They're saying they make like an MMO, and Ubisoft doesn't have an MMO in their catalog, right? So
Not yet.
I just find that funny.
No.
Yeah,
Can't
yet.
comment. I can't comment on the situation.
We heard it here first. Will with the leak. Ubisoft is working on an open.
Said nothing.
Will
They don't
Smith.
trust me. It's my second week. Take it easy.
He looks like a leaker.
He's got that leaker energy.
Right.
But
But interesting, you're watching stuff on Apple. You kind of don't care about anything else.
yeah, I don't like
I feel like
Apple, the company, and the tech. But like, it's a service that hosts TV shows. So like, why can't I just watch the TV show?
Wait, we
I
gotta
feel
put a
like now
pin.
you're being a hypocrite now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
How am I
I'm
being a
not judging
hypocrite?
you. I'm not
No, it
judging
sounds like
but
you are judging me though.
Wait, hey, wait. Here's a big question. Do you support monopolies?
Yes, he does.
No, I don't even like the board game.
All right,
Now.
that's a lie. So then, that's true because then now we know. Now we know you do support monopolies. That's fine. That's
What do
true.
you mean what do you mean I support monopolies? Where's this information coming from?
It just feels like it's accurate. You support
It
the
just
people that.
feels okay.
Am I wrong?
Yes, like yes, you're wrong.
Jeff, am I wrong? Does he support monopolies? No.
I can neither confirm or deny such a.
That's proof. That's enough within itself. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Look, he's subscribing to Apple. He said, "Where's my Apple Music subscription?" Right now, buying an iPhone.
I'm just gonna type out on my red iPhone my
totally not
sharp,
sponsored.
sharp tweet about the situation.
Right, like look what I'm surrounded with, and I'm the one who supports the Apple monolithic faceless.
Wait, don't you do a whole Disney fucking podcast about like What If and all this other Disney show, which is a big monopoly?
Yes. We're not paid by Disney. What are you talking about?
All I'm saying
did you see? Hold on, because we're getting off topic. But did you see episode 4 of What If? Because we went in.
1.
Like we trashed that episode. So don't look to Marvel's Escape as like big Disney supporters, because we will tear them down when it needs to happen.
Next episode, you're gonna say this episode is sponsored by.
I saw it, Casey. I enjoyed your breakdown.
Thank you. See, Rachel, this is why Rachel's here. You know, the voice of reason.
What the fuck is this? That's crazy. Rachel, I'm not saying anything about you. I'm saying that this man is biased.
Anyway, if we move off of the Apple stuff,
side here.
Right? But in terms of playing, I can't talk about what I've been playing recently, and I kind of really want to because I think it's super interesting. But I did play a GTA clone called Rustler. Have you guys heard of this? It's like it's more like the top-down GTA game style, but it's set in like a medieval world. No dragons, no like magic and stuff. But it's like no guns, crossbows. It's like medieval time.
Yeah.
But like there is some like out of time stuff in it. Like there are a lot of and I hate like there's like graffiti on castle walls with like obscenities and stuff like F the king, stuff like that. There's like beatboxing in it. Like some of the bards like beatbox and like rap. There's like hip hop music that comes in sometimes.
Yeah, medieval hip hop. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, real hip hop.
Bardcore. It's a thing. It's a real thing.
Is it? Okay,
yeah.
Now I'm curious.
We're gonna listen to some Bardcore stream.
Oh, I love this.
Was a DJ. You didn't know that, did you?
Yep.
But
he was the DJ Khaled of his time.
Casey, go on.
Yeah, like is that a thing that you want to be? You want to be the DJ Khaled of any time?
If you saw DJ Khaled's income, I'm pretty sure you'd want to be a DJ Khaled of any time.
Well, come on. There's a lot of garbage people with lots of income, so.
Ooh.
But anyway,
DJ Khaled's gonna ruin your next stream. He's gonna pop in.
Yeah, DJ Khaled's watching this right now. He's coming for me. But yeah, outside of that, like the game is pretty average. Like if you liked the older GTAs, you'll probably like this. But I was of two minds about it because like if you like the older GTAs, you probably also went and played the newer GTAs and realized, you know, these are much better experiences. So like you wouldn't necessarily really want to go back to a lesser version in some cases. Right. But I don't know, maybe some people are put off by the newer ones and really like the old ones. Well, then this is for you. But I think it's fine. But that's I think that's all I have in terms of stuff I play. I also played a little bit of Hades myself, but I couldn't spend a ton of time with it. Like every time I have like a couple 15, 20 minutes of free time, like I'll maybe turn it on and try to do a couple runs before having to do something else. But it's been fun. Like I like it.
It's a good game for that to be able to do that, and because you can pick it up and put it right back down. Like you don't need to, you know, you can pop in whenever you have time.
Right. So how about you, Jeff? What have you been playing, watching?
Playing wise, I got back into Destiny this past Thursday. People have been asking for us to do a Guardian Thursday, so we did some Destiny. We did some private matches. Didn't stream it, but we did do some. There was some time mix-ups, and people were going to be late, so I didn't want to do a stream and have people fluctuating in. So we just kind of did it off stream. Did it for like 2 hours. We had some good fun. We started with like 4 people, and then 5 people, and then we ended up with I think 12 by the end of the night. So
Like there's been like a lot of like story excitement around like this latest season, right?
right.
Like can you go into a little bit, I guess without spoilers if you can help it, explain
Yeah, I
like
can
why
just give
people
you.
are like in such a fervor? Because I keep hearing Savathun be thrown around. I vaguely remember that name, but I do not know what's important about it.
So if you remember in the strike, there was a strike dealing with Sabathun where you had to make it to, and like it was this huge eye in the sky you had to keep shooting at in this one room with all these hives just flooding in. You had to kind of get in there.
Wait,
You found
that
out that they
was
were. Mhm.
that was like the big like Lovecraftian monster that ate that prince guy, right?
No, this is something
No,
else.
okay. That's not all right.
Yeah.
Never mind.
So
Forget I
it
said
was a
anything.
strike. It was a strike. You had to. It was in a hive layer where you find out that she was harvesting guardians into crystals. To like these little crystals to power whatever they were trying to power. And you
Mhm.
eventually, one of the guardians you go there to save sacrifices herself so you can go and make it further. And you fight Sabathun. She's in a room. She's like a little eye, like those little sentries in the sky that open up and close. It's not really her, but it's like her essence. But anyway, Sabathun, the Witch Queen is dropping a new. It's supposed to be their major DLC coming out. Believe next year. I think it's January or February. And it's supposed to be the Hive who are going to be able to possess light. So you'll have
Right, and
guardian,
that's
right?
insane.
That's something that's never been done. Um, that's been our power. That's been our benefit. That's been our we can die and come back. That's been our
You
thing.
like
You know what I'm
it's
saying?
like the whole religion behind
Right.
like it's like all the travelers our savior. It gave us light because we're worthy. It took light away from the fallen
No
because
fault.
they were no longer worthy. But then this evil kind of dirty alien
Right.
thing called the Hive now gets some light as well. So like, what does that mean for the guard? Like, I do think that's actually super interesting.
It is. And their
You're gonna
story
start
is
to
good.
have to question your faith a little bit.
Yeah, because you're wondering like, well, we still have it, but are they worthy as well? Like, what's going on? It creates some doubt. And there's already been like a civil war kind of in the tower with the fallen coming in and living in the tower, and people saying, well, they've been our enemies for years. We can't trust them. They shouldn't be here. And it was kind of a civil war with that. So it left some questions of morality with the past season, and now we're looking at the Witch Queen, and the next season, which is going to be dealing with her, kind of coming after us, having her own guardians. You got to destroy their ghost in order to kill them. Otherwise, they come right back, which is
Right.
pretty interesting. But also in this current season, Savathun's working with the Awoken Queen to take down another Hive Queen or whoever she is. So she's trying to make it seem like she's our friend at this moment. Like everything she's done leading up to now has been to help us. But then you know that when the Witch Queen comes out, she's the main villain. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
we're not lying. Like, yeah, it's pretty interesting. So it kind of made me want to get back into it. I took a break for maybe like the majority of last season, so I got back into it. A lot of people have been playing.
Yeah,
It's
I'm still on
cross.
break.
Yeah, it's crossplay now, so you can PC and Xbox and PlayStation can play together now. Not only in co-op but also PvP. So it's a little bit. We had some fun with that on Thursday. I think I said we played for like 2 hours. Aside from playing Destiny, I haven't really been in the mood to play much. Um,
So what you been watching then?
Watching. What haven't I been watching? I've been catching up on Wano and One Piece. Wano is just a beautiful country. The colors, the scenes, the
Like they
setting,
legit
sun.
changed the art style of that show when that arc started, right? Like
Yes,
it looks a lot better than it has in a for a while now.
I will say on Wano is the best arc as far as visually and as far as the story goes. I think it's like probably my favorite arc. Up second to like Annie's Lobby, where you got to go and save Nico Robin. That's probably like was
Mm-hmm.
my number one favorite arc. This one definitely top that. On top of watching that, I started like a bunch of the Netflix shows over, like Daredevil and Luke Cage. Not Iron Fist, but Daredevil, Luke Cage.
You're watching them
Just watch.
over?
Yeah, watch them over again. Because I'm thinking that they're not gonna probably deal with Luke Cage, but I'm definitely sure that Matt Murdock is gonna make an appearance in Spider-Man: No Way Home. So I'm definitely interested in
I'm
that
curious
character.
what you're basing that belief on. Like what clues lead you
Clues.
to think that that's coming?
There's been some clues and some breakdowns of different trailers, and also like that's what he does. He's a lawyer for powered individuals kind of towards the end of this whole situation, and it would just fit that that's who's representing Peter when he's in jail, and it'll be a good tie. And there's also been a lot of rumors that he's going to show up.
Okay, I mean, at the end of the Netflix series, did he ever? It was only Punisher, I think, that he represented, right? Who was like a hero or a Marvel character who he had to. It was only Punisher.
Right.
The Defenders, he also kind of represented Jessica Jones.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She wasn't in need of representation for very long, but.
And then Falky
Okay.
Nelson working for that law firm where that's their main goal was to kind of get in on the whole uptick of powered people, and they were basically going around defending all the powered people. So I'm thinking that might be his way into the MCU, showing up as a lawyer.
I would definitely like to see it because I do like Charlie Cox as an actor.
Absolutely.
DJ in the chat says Matt Murdock is confirmed, isn't he? I don't think so. I don't think there's anything official that has confirmed that he's in it.
No.
But
They
yeah,
just
I
feel
have
like-
also heard rumors.
Yeah, just rumors, nothing concrete yet. Just like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, nothing confirmed yet, and they both deny it. But you know,
Yeah, Andrew Garfield keeps denying it.
It's not confirmed, but it's confirmed. I know. Remember the same trailer that you were talking about, where they were showing the lawyer's hands and stuff like that.
Right.
And I remember seeing also reports on the IMAX theater that they was totally not him because they had
Mhm.
more
Yeah, like they
space with
showed
somebody
more
else.
of that scene. and it
However,
was some other dude.
Disney's been and they've been like, hey, sure, this is gonna happen in the movie. They literally like hour-long cuts of like everything that they said would be in the movie that clearly is not. That was part of the trailer, so it's like, you
Yeah,
never
they've
know.
done-
completely deny something like, no, that's not going to happen. Don't worry about that. And then it happens, and you're like, oh,
You're like, you
They-
fucking almost got me.
They put I remember they in one of the Avengers, like either Infinity War or Endgame, they put Hulk in like this charge scene where everyone is like rushing.
Yep.
But he wasn't in that scene. Like it was Banner in the Hulk Buster armor
Right.
instead.
Mhm.
So like they've done that before, like just completely throwing you off by putting different elements in. So yeah, it doesn't necessarily say anything that he's not in that scene. Maybe he is. Who knows? But does that do it for you, Jeff? Anything else you've been watching?
nope, that's pretty much it.
How about you, Will? What you been getting up to?
Oh man, game wise, there's a lot of things we cannot talk about at the moment.
All right, after the podcast, you just let us know, and we'll.
No, negative.
You'll let me know, won't you, Will?
Maybe I'm scared of you, so that's why. she gives
That's the nicest
chill.
thing anyone's ever said to me.
Yeah, she gives chill vibes, but she also is like, if you fuck with me, you will die. So it's also like. Anyway, I actually have been playing, trying to play Rainbow Six. So now that I got a chance to be a part of the Ubisoft team, I get access to every single game in the library. Whoop whoop. So when I was playing Rainbow Six on the computer, wow, everything is unlocked. I have all the everything, so I'm just like, oh shit, I got
Oh,
all the
dang.
charms, but I'm still getting roasted because I'm not good at keyboard and mouse as of yet.
But you
So
look
it's
good, though, is what you're saying.
my hopes is that I can eventually get into it because listen, back, and this is gonna sound weird, but because I went to college late in the game, so back when I went to college in 2015, that's when it launched, and I remember literally purchasing the game and just no lifing it because from like 8 a.m. to 12 was schoolwork, and then from there I had like a 3-hour gap, and I was like, my roommate literally just smoked weed and played games and Madden and shit like that. So I was like, oh shit, this is what we're doing, and I put 200 hours into that game, like no lie.
Damn.
We do play
Yeah.
every Monday, just so you know, and it's crossplay now. We play Siege every
Yeah,
Monday.
I just heard that it's crossplay now, so that should open up
Got
the
it.
doors for.
Is
a
it cross?
lot
I didn't
more.
even know that. Oh, that's I
Come
feel
on,
so
you
stupid.
slipping. You got all the charms,
Well-
but none of the knowledge.
Yeah, none of the knowledge whatsoever. I gotta jump in on these things. Yeah, no. Well, it's funny because now I'm kind of doing it for my enjoyment, and kind of doing it as my own kind of R&D. So, I'm looking to see how can I try to get into the competitive scene of it, but I also don't have the patience. I'm not Nick. You know what I mean? I definitely am a run and gun sort of situation. So it's very hard for me to switch my pacing in terms of that. But I've been playing that. I've reviewed
Real
Life
quick
is Strange.
before you jump off
Uh-huh.
of the Rainbow
Yeah,
Six thing,
what's up?
I will say on PC their controller support is really good. Like I
Yeah?
don't think like if you prefer to play with a controller, like you won't you won't suffer too much because everyone else is on mouse and keyboard. It's a game that doesn't rely super heavily on like the super precision, twitchy turnaround shooting.
But here's the thing: when I was playing, so I bought it recently myself too, because I wanted to get it on console because I thought I didn't know it was crossplay, so I just spent the $6 to get it on PlayStation 5,
Ooh, you can get
right?
it.
I can invoice that, so that's great. But my thing is that so when I was playing on like PlayStation 5, I was playing yesterday. I was doing terrible. Like I'd probably end around with like maybe 5 kills. And I mean like the 3 rounds, you know what I mean, if I'm getting washed. However, when playing on keyboard, and once you get that mouse in, it is a different ball game because I literally was going off in double digits and I was like, this is not me. This is totally some cheats. Like there's no way this works. So that's why I want to lean a little forward into it and just become more comfortable. I've been looking at like PC peripherals for it, but I don't know how deep into the rabbit hole I'm gonna go. So I know I want to continue with it and get better. Um, I reviewed Life is Strange. I don't care what anyone says. You can call me biased. You can call me like total. Someone called me a libtard the other day. I'm like, you call me whatever you want at this point. That game is fantastic. And compare, I've been following since the first game. So every release I've come out, I've been a little bit more and more disappointed. And to see that this has been in production for solid, I think, want to say 2017 or something like that. That's when they started. It's literally captures lightning in a bottle again, and it's fantastic. So if you enjoyed the first one and you ever felt like an outcast, please, please, please check it out. I know $60 is steep, so if it drops into price, sure, go for whatever works in your budget. But I don't think anyone will be disappointed with that. Um, what else have I been playing? I've been trying to play Assassin's Creed Valhalla. More so at the fact that it's just I didn't have enough time, so I've only dabbled a little bit. And every time I do it on my laptop, because my laptop has a 3080, it sounds like it's a PlayStation 4 turning on sometimes. So it's doing a little bit of a lot.
Jumbo Jet is taxiing down the
Yeah,
runway.
exactly. So it's like I've been a little cautious when it came down to it. I also, because I only have the digital edition, I would love to have it on my PlayStation 5. Um, just preference. I'm a console player at heart, so there's nothing I can do about it. And I don't have to worry about my laptop shitting itself, so that'd be fantastic. And in terms of TV, it's funny because you were talking about Ted Lasso, so I got into that because Amy was talking about it. It's literally just like a country dad, and that's all you need. Like it makes it's a fantastic show if you haven't already seen it. And I
Yeah,
was
I'm really
just,
enjoying it.
what did you say, Rachel? Sorry.
I said I need to see it. I have members of my family who are huge Ted Lasso fans, and they're constantly wanting to talk to me about it. So I need to see it, if only so that I can be included in the conversation.
I think for the most part, if you like that sort of happy go feel, it's not a bad investment in the slightest. Um,
I've been
what
watching C. I need all the happy-go-lucky I can get.
Yeah, you need something that's actually quality. Never stop. I'm trying to think of shows. Like I literally have an app for my shows. I've been watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine as it's the final season. Very happy with what's been going
Oh
on so
man,
far.
yeah, I need to catch up to that too.
It's
I watched a lot of it very early on and then fell off because like it got canceled and came back or something, right? No,
Yeah.
did that happen to Brooklyn Nine Nine?
wasn't it on Fox and then NBC acquired it.
Yeah, it came back for a
Yeah,
final
something like
season.
that.
Yeah, and this season really tackles the situation that people of color have been dealing with the police and whatnot, and they do it in such a subtle way where it's just like it doesn't need to be like over your head. It's like if you are a person of color, you know this. We don't need to really explain it. It's more so just kind of going through the motions, and I think it's done cleverly where the humor is balancing everything out. Still watching wrestling because I'm a nerd. So if you're
Wait,
following AEW,
which
you know what's going on.
wrestling? The new one,
AEW.
the AEW, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So you
yeah, yeah, that
don't. So
last.
have you like jumped off of the WWE train? Is WWE
I've
finished?
I've stopped watching WWE for a while now. I know this is something that we've talked about previously with his name. I know it. Jesse. Yes, my brain gave out for a
Yeah,
second.
yeah.
Sorry.
Jesse is another big
Ye-
wrestling fan.
Yeah, we've been talking about it before, and a lot of things. My thing with WWE is that when Vince has control of it, because he likes big, sweaty, beefy men, he doesn't think of the story in the end, and it ends up being where it's repetitive. It's like we saw this match already before, and now the pay-per-view we're seeing the big match for the championship, and then on the next Monday on Raw we're gonna see the exact same match finally. And it's like
Hmm.
I've seen it 3 times. I'm done. I don't need this anymore.
They do
Um,
that all the time. You're right. I even
well,
remember that.
AEW doesn't do that as much. Literally, you can be on the beginning, like just starting, and you can get in a main event match. Like they keep it so fresh, And the fact that they're just keep on recruiting talent, they just grab people like CM Punk, Daniel Bryanson, who used to be in WWE, and Adam Cole, who was an NXT superstar. Like these are all big names that may not ring a bell for you, but from the wrestling community goes
No,
fucking
Daniel Bryan
off.
was married to one of those Bella sisters, right?
Still is, yeah.
Yeah,
It,
I
it,
know who
it
that
seems
is.
like
The
a
Yes
lot of
guy. I like that guy.
yes, he's the vegan dude. Yeah, he kicks ass.
Yeah, that guy's cool.
So I'm trying to think of what else. I've been watching it. Don't judge me. The Rugrats reboot that's on
Oh, I
Paramount.
know. I want to see that.
It's literally, it's not the same voice actors. It's modern. Like, Phil and Lil's doesn't have a dad. It's very focused, and it feels like, oh, the mom is clearly queer.
Yeah, I
And
think
he's
they
not in the
actually.
relationship.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they confirmed
stated that they got rid of
Mhm.
Howard
Yeah,
and that Betty was going to be lesbian.
for sure. So that it's very modern in the regard. I love the representation that's there, but it also keeps the same cute things that like what makes the Rugrats the Rugrats. Like there's an episode, and I won't spoil it all, but there's an episode where they foster a dog, and then Spot's like, "Dude, what's going on? How are we supposed to figure that out?" And Tommy's trying to make everyone like copacetic and like we're family, we got this. Da 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 da. It's very cute. So if you can get a
I need
chance
to
to
see that
watch that,
show. I'm
yeah,
glad to
no,
hear that it's not immediately putting you off because that's the
no.
tone everyone else seems to like. Oh, this doesn't look like my
The
childhood, so it's gonna be awful. Like I hate that dialogue. I just really want to see it and see what they do with it, what they do new with it.
Yeah, the art style is different. The voice acting is different, but it's the story and the writing that feels concrete. Even the sound and how everything's kind of like that crunchy, like old school Rugrat sound still follows through. It still has the same heart. And
Did they
I think
redo the intro though, like the music? I do like kind
it's
of like.
still the same music, yeah.
Okay.
But like they still like when they have like those sort of sound bites that transition from scenes or just the music, it's still very much the same. So it fits my nostalgia. And the last thing I'll talk about because there's so many shows I've been watching, but there's a show on Netflix. I don't know if any of you ever watched it, and if you don't or want to look for something that's very garbage TV but great, there's a show called The Circle.
Oh
Oh yeah,
And
God.
Blue has been telling us about that show as
yeah,
well.
the circle is fantastic. There's nothing wrong with it. At first, I was telling my girlfriend, I'm like, this is stupid. I don't want to watch this. 2 episodes later, I'm like, that guy's an asshole. That's a catfish. It's fantastic. It's a social media show where they don't see each other and they can catfish if they want for $100,000, and it's great. Third season just came out. I'm not sponsored by Netflix, but I should be. And that's that.
All right, well, thank you very much. Um, we'll move on, I guess, to our next topic, which is basically everything that happened at the PlayStation showcase.
Yeah.
We'll try to focus on the things that got you guys like excited versus kind of just everything that they had to talk about. Because I'll start off by saying I did think the show was pretty slow until like the last third. Like they kind of saved any of the interesting stuff for like the very end. But the stuff that they had to show were big announcements, but also fairly safe announcements. Like
Yeah,
stuff
and
that we already knew were gonna come at some point, with the exception of the Wolverine thing. But what are you guys' opinions on stuff that you saw? Jeff,
Get
you
a
wanted to jump
chiropractor
in?
for Insomniac's back
Right?
Yep.
for
Yeah, he is
carrying the
working hard.
PS5's lineup.
It's so fucking funny because where
I'm
I'm
sorry,
at
Jeff.
right now in Durham, well, in North Carolina, but when I go to Durham, which my girlfriend's parents live, every time we get off the exit, all you see is the Insomniac game thing, like literally their studio. And I get so excited because it's just right there. And I try to explain to them, I'm like, they're fucking making bangers and are not stopping. And their parents are like, so why don't you work there? And I'm like, I don't know how to create
Oh, you're like,
video
you know
games.
what?
God
You're right.
damn.
I'm sorry I
I'm
brought
not
it up.
driving over here anymore. But yeah, I think we could almost universally say we're all excited for what Insomniac has down the pipeline, right? No?
Yeah.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Like, I feel like their trailers were only a minute a pop, but yet that's all I needed. That was
Yeah,
enough to be
I
like, I
don't even
trust the
think
brand.
for the Spider-Man 2 trailer, I don't even think it was a good trailer, honestly. Like it was kind of boring and didn't tell you much. But the fact that that you may get to play with multiple Spider-Men and that Venom is going to make an appearance, whether or not you get to play with him is also kind of up in the air. Like all that by itself is exciting based on what they've done before. But the trailer itself wasn't that great.
No.
But the thing
Yeah,
is, it didn't have to be. It showed you everything you want. It showed you Miles next to Peter, and then it showed you Venom. And then the villain's you're gonna have Craven show up. So you're like, oh, I got everything I could want nobody even cared that there was no gameplay. He was just
Yeah.
like, oh yeah.
Well, that's what I was hinting to. Like, does Insomniac really need? I think they've established themselves well enough to just be like, whatever our next game's gonna be, you should probably be prepared to put down $65 or whatever your taxes look like after. You know?
I mean, I don't
But this
get
is a
mad at it
PlayStation
when the
exclusive.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
true.
Which means it's going to be $70 plus some tax.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's stupid. Nope, let's not talk about that. Anyway.
No, go ahead,
I
Rachel.
don't. I was just gonna say I don't mind so much when like the first trailer that you see for a game is a cinematic trailer because I mean that's just how these things work because games don't look like finished products until pretty late in development. So the cinematic trailer does play the role of getting people hyped up and giving them a general sense and feel of what to expect. But I do agree with you, Casey, in that when you really examine it, it didn't show us anything we didn't already know. Like Peter and Miles look exactly the same as they did in their games. They even have the same costumes and we saw like this much of Venom. But I admit there's part of me that's also a little excited because Venom's going to be voiced by the Candyman himself, Tony
I heard
Todd.
that.
Right, yeah.
Very happy.
It's officially confirmed too. So I'm just excited about that because I mean Tony Todd is awesome and I want him to get more work.
That's true. Yeah, you can't be mad at that at all. Like I've been watching my son play through Miles Morales. We had a long discussion about him deleting his save and starting over. That was
wow.
But yeah, check out our last Sigmund Sun stream. It's probably the last VOD before this stream if you want to see how that went, because man, he can get under my skin when he wants to. But the thing is, like between the first game and the Miles Morales kind of side story, because that wasn't like a full length experience, right? It's still a very similar thing. So unless they're really trying to like go all out, like I'm sure it'll be great, but it doesn't get me super excited because like I know this is kind of a known quantity. If they maybe are looking to add some sort of co-op, maybe that could kind of raise some eyebrows. But like it's Sony, so like yeah, they tend to not want to do that. But then again, it's Insomniac, and they do like to push themselves.
True.
Which brings me to the Wolverine thing. What do you think that could look like? Because Nick, when we talked about it while watching the PlayStation Showcase, he does not believe for a second that they're going to try and put him in an open world. But like clearly that's kind of Insomniac's strength. Like even the Ratchet games are kind of hub areas, and then you kind of jump around in like a linear level or whatever. But like, what do you guys think could be this Wolverine game? Like, how's that going to look?
I feel like you could play like a Last of Us type situation where it's not open world, but it's not directly closed in, where you kind of go from area to area, where it's more cinematic. I could see that happening with Wolverine, but also I feel like that would cage Wolverine in. Wolverine is all about the ferocity, you being able to go and just spread people up. You know, he's in the bar, a couple people come in and say, "Hey, Mutie, what's going on here?" And he just kind of, goes crazy, cuts a bat in half or whatever, just doing some crazy stuff. And, I feel like an open world would do him justice, but also that's going to be a large undertaking. It's different with Spider-Man because what are you doing? How do you get around the city? You're web slinging across the city. What is Wolverine going to do? He's going to get on his bike. You know what I'm saying? He's going to get on his Harley.
He does have a motorcycle. That's true.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting. Yeah. And for him to be the only mutant in the city, that's also going to be another thing. So it's going to, I don't know.
Do we know that he's the only mutant in?
I'm just saying, like in Spider-Man, you see like there's not like, I don't know. It's a little different, if you know what I mean. Like mutants, when you think of Wolverine, you think of mutants. So there's going to be mutants just walking around the city. It might not be like, they're not going to be X-Men or out stopping crime, but there'll be some mutants or something. You can't just have the world without having them. Spider-Man's a little different. He's a superhero. So you don't necessarily need to have a superhero in the city and be like, well, how is he the only superhero in the city? Where if you say Wolverine,
why is Wolverine the only? Well, what I'm thinking is because the trailer kind of showed he's in a bar and it's like Russian lettering and stuff. I think he's in another country and probably in some kind of isolated place. So whether there are other mutants around or not, there probably won't be a lot of them anyway. Like, it won't be like a densely populated thing. So like, I can't imagine it's like Wolverine in New York, but it'll probably be like Wolverine in some kind of wintry countryside or something. Is my guess.
Well, Spider-Man. Sorry, go ahead, Jeff.
Okay. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that Spider-Man is, because he's a New York-based superhero, you kind of have a natural like containment field for him within the city of within New York City. You can keep him contained to that area. Wolverine doesn't really have a place that's
Mhm.
his. So I think it would probably be a lot easier to um sort of put it, like you said, Jeff, put him in a situation where you have him like move linearly from place to place, maybe different locations. I don't really know I don't really know what kind of story they would go for with Wolverine, and I'm kind of curious to see what they do with that. It's early days yet.
All right.
DJ in the chat is saying it's Madripoor. It's confirmed that the Wolverine game is based in Mariposa, and the bar. It's based in Madripoor, and the bar is owned by him. So it's Wolverine's bar.
It doesn't
It's a
snow
little
in
rude. People
doesn't
starting stuff in his bar.
The only thing is, it doesn't snow in Madripoor, so that's not the bar in Madripoor. Anytime you see Madripoor, it's always that even like you saw in
Kind
Falcon
of
and the
that
Winter Soldier.
East Asian
Yeah,
city thing,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
it doesn't snow there. So that's my
Yeah, DJ, I'm
only
gonna need
issue.
to check your sources. Like you keep saying stuff
Yeah,
is confirmed. You got to tell me confirmed from
confirmed.
where.
Confirmed. My mind did. It confirmed it just now. So, but yeah, I don't think that's Madripoor in the bar because it's snowing, and like I said, I've never seen snowing in Madripoor in any iteration that I've seen it in. Um, so, and Madripoor would be also a small sandbox for him just to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see
Mhm.
that work just keeping him in Madripoor because then
And
how
that's
do you
also
push
a
the story?
city, though, right? Like
Right, and
it's
how
like
do
a
you?
foreign one in terms of like most Marvel stuff, but it is a city, and I don't
Right.
think his gameplay style would be served in like an urban like concrete setting.
Him visiting in there would be okay, but like I don't see being able to push the whole narrative just in Madripoor. How did he get to Madripoor? What got him there? Usually people go to Madripoor to he's going to get information about somebody else, or he's looking for somebody else, or he's going to Madripoor because that's a seedy area. He's going undercover
Mhm.
and he's going to try to get information, and the information that he gets there is going to lead him somewhere else. So that's always like an in between point. It's never like where this is where the story happens at, this is where it ends at. So I don't I don't see that. But possibilities. But I would think they're going to show that bear. What's his name? I can't think of his name. He turns into like a werebear. He was in the Black Widow movie. He was in jail with the
Oh, I
Red
know what you're
Dragon.
talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
he's
can't
another
remember the
mutant.
I
It's
can't
now
remember the character's
Werebear.
name.
That's
No,
it.
I forget his name. We'll
Like
call him
his name
Werebear
is
for now.
not Werebear because that's
I think Werebear is
it's a missed
fantastic as a name.
opportunity, right?
His name is Ursa Major. Yep, Ursa Major. Yeah, he turns into a bear. He's part of the Russian
Oh,
kind of.
is that the name of the bear shaped constellation?
Yes.
That's actually cute. I like that.
Be cute.
What
But
kind of Sorry. I'm sorry,
no,
Jeff. I keep interrupting you. Go ahead.
you're okay. He was in Black Widow, so that was kind of their confirmation of mutants. He didn't do anything, but he was in his human form was in
Mhm.
Black Widow.
Like he just
So
made
and
a
he's
cameo.
yeah. So it's they're probably and if you ever remember Wolverine, like when he breaks out of the Weapons X facility, he always fights a bear. So I could see them fighting him at some
Does he?
point, and yeah, like they always have him fighting a bear. Like it's
I
just
don't know
weird.
nothing about this.
Yeah, like I
But
didn't know that this was like a running thing
It
for.
was okay. That's a thing. Okay.
I'll send
I
it
mean,
to
it
you.
makes sense. I can see that, tiny, small, scrappy Wolverine taking on a massive bear. I get it.
Going against a grizzly. So I can see that happening in the show, in the movie. But I'm super excited about it, and the fact that it's 2023 doesn't make me have to rush to get a PlayStation 5. I can still take my time.
Yeah, and this is supposed to be PlayStation 5 only. Like this won't be on PS4 and PlayStation 5 like the last one, the Miles Morales.
Yeah,
So
that was
like,
the only takeaway I got from most of this stuff. That this is a sad moment, but the PlayStation 4 is going to be kind of settling in the dust soon because a lot of these things are
I
just
mean, it's
next
been
gen.
almost a year since the PS5
I
has been out,
know.
right?
I don't like that. The poor person in me struggled to get consoles when they were new. I was lucky enough to get a PlayStation 5 digital, but like aside from that, like I remember having a PS2 and when I already had a PS3 and I'm like, don't take this away from me. I can't play those games yet. So I know that struggle. Also,
Right.
fun fact, I know nothing about Wolverine, so but I'm very excited for this.
Ooh, that'll be good then. That'll be a good thing for you. I think they're gonna rehash a combination of different stories. Like we had Wolverine, Logan. We had
Hmm.
was it the Wolverine when they had that whole Deadpool situation going on, and then the second one when he was fighting Silver Samurai. So I think they're gonna do a
Are you
combination
talking
of
about
those
the
two.
Origins movies,
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
the first
Origins
really bad.
Wolverine and Origins Wolverine 2? I think that was the samurai one.
Yeah, with the girl who played Katana in the Arrowverse. She was
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I cannot
yeah.
remember her name, unfortunately.
She was also she was also played Katana in the Suicide Squad
Suicide
movie.
Squad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Does anybody care about the Star Wars thing though? I didn't get any excitement. I didn't play the original.
I didn't play
Knights
the
of the Old
original, but
Republic
I'm
remake.
excited to play the remake.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything bad of it. I'm just saying I know a lot of people were like, yeah. I'm like, I never played
yeah.
this
I'm
a day in my
wondering.
life.
Great. About to call you Grace. Rachel,
I am now
what?
Grace.
You can call me Grace. It's fine. Grace is my actual middle name, so I'm
Oh,
fine with
okay.
being
Well, there you
called
go.
Grace. Yeah,
Double
There you
whammy.
go.
that's
Mystery solved.
Boom.
for those of you who don't know what they're talking about. My Discord name is Grace of Athena, and so that's what they see when they look at me.
Right.
So yeah.
But yeah, I'm
yeah.
assuming you have some thoughts on the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake.
Well, we already knew it was happening because
Mhm.
we've heard for a while the rumors that this is what Aspire was doing, and surprise, it is what Aspire is doing. And I'm interested to see if they're going to incorporate any of the stuff from Knights of the Old Republic 2. Like, I wonder, is this
Yeah.
what kind of a remake is this? Is this just, bringing everything forward, warts and all, or are we doing a Resident Evil 2 style remake where we try to take the bones of the game and improve on it in some way and make it give it maybe some new story twists, some gameplay improvements. That I would be interested in. But what I really don't want them to do is lose like the pure role playing aspect of it, because this was BioWare before it started to get into the Mass Effects
Mhm.
of, sort of like becoming a more action RPG experience. This was a little bit more of an RPG experience, a little bit more of an RPG, and I don't want it to lose that. I don't want them to go too action oriented for this. And
But they have stated that they are probably moving away from that kind of turn-based thing.
yeah,
Like it is going to be more active in terms of like the combat and stuff.
I know, and that's what I'm a little worried about. But on the other hand,
Mhm.
Star Wars does do that sort of gameplay. It does lend itself very well to that sort of gameplay because it is about running around with laser swords and
Right.
hitting everything in sight and throwing lightning at people or just shooting a lot of guns. And I will understand that that's the way they intend to go, but at the same time I'm not happy about it. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
I
I
wouldn't mind seeing combat
Mhm.
similar to Fallen Order. If you played Fallen Order, the lightsaber combat and the combat in that was very well done.
I did like the lightsaber combat in Fallen Order. I will say that what the KOTOR did start this whole trend of the Star Wars games being way more obsessed with Star Wars' ancient history than any of the movies have ever been. Like in no Star Wars movie that I can think of have they ever gone to like an ancient Sith tomb or something or an ancient Jedi tomb. That's been in almost every single Star Wars game. I don't know. I mean, do we have some deep-seated need to make a Lara Croft game? To make a Tomb Raider game or an Uncharted game in the Star Wars universe? Is this the natural endpoint of this evolution?
I think the reason for that is because everything that comes out has to be part of Star Wars canon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the only place where game companies are kind of free to do what they want is in like this backwater old history type. They're like, oh, stay thousands and thousands of years away from the story that we're telling
Mm-hmm.
in the movies and TV shows. So then you can go and have your little sandbox there. With the exception of Respawn's game, because that one kind of falls somewhere in the middle.
I do think it's sort of that way with that was one of the reasons KOTOR was set in the ancient past.
Right.
It wasn't just about looking at the ancient past. It actually was set in the ancient past. Well, relatively speaking. But I do think that one of the main reasons they're making this remake is because they want to recanonize Revan, for lack of a better way
Yes,
of
I
putting
think
it,
so.
because
Yeah.
Yeah.
Revan is a huge deal, and you'll notice that even though Revan is not intended to be the main villain of KOTOR, you're sort of spoiling it a little bit here because, I mean, not that you could spoil a game this
Yeah,
old,
it's like
but
it's a very
that's sort of
old
my
game.
thing. But yeah, that's that is the whole thing, is that Revan is not actually supposed to be a major player in it, and then yeah, you've got this whole teaser trailer where it's just showing Revan and Bastila saying we're gonna face the greatest Sith in generations. I'm like, okay, how are we gonna reconcile this with the way the story is, assuming the story follows the same lines, how the story is actually going to play out?
And they did talk about him a little bit, not by name, but they mentioned him in well, some of the events that led up to that in the Mandalorian, when they were saying Mandalore the Great fought
Mm.
these evil sorcerers or whatever. And we know that Revan was actually the one who defeated Mandalore the Great, him and uh, his other buddy.
Malik?
Yes, Malik.
Mhm.
So they're touching on some of that. It was pretty cool to see that in the Mandalorian. Now you got the remake for Culture coming out. I think that's going to be pretty cool. I never played the first one, so I'm definitely interested to play.
Yeah, I fell off of the first one. Like I started and was liking it a bunch because of like the story that they were telling, but it was the gameplay that ultimately pushed me out the door because like it was just this really boring, tedious fight to me. Like I just didn't like it. I think it was some kind of boss encounter in like a factory, and I was like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. So like the idea that they're gonna remake that game and fix that, like the combat is gonna be something that I can actively participate in, that really sells me on it. So I'm very excited to see what they do with this. My only concern is what are the other remakes that Asper has done in the past? Like, do we know? Do they have kind of a history of kind of turning like projects like this around? I don't know. Like they're kind of new to me. I've not heard of them before.
That's fair. I mean, I know they have worked on porting KOTOR to other platforms in the past.
Mhm.
They were the ones who I think were the ones who worked on the mobile port of it. But I don't, and I think probably maybe others as well. Like maybe it's not out on Switch, I don't think. So I could be wrong, but I know they did work on the mobile ports of it. So they have a long history with KOTOR. So I think that's why they got this gig over potentially more qualified studios. I'll put it that way.
Okay, I mean, this is their shot. Like, if they do good on this, I'm sure they'll probably be tasked with. Maybe they'll get another remake before like they really get to hit the big time or something. But like, it'll definitely be a good look if they release this and it's a big seller. Because yeah, like you said, Resident Evil 2 remake kind of set the bar super high. Final Fantasy VII's remake, same thing. So like any
Yeah.
studio looking for a remake now, as you can see with the Dead Space remake that's on the horizon, they're trying to hit that bar. Like I don't think you can get away with doing anything less if you say that you're making a remake. Like you got to go all in.
Absolutely.
So we'll wait and see, but I will be back with more commentary when we see more of the game, which hopefully will be soon.
I was
Real
just
quick,
Google searching
no, go ahead.
KOTOR. I was just Google searching. I'm like, who the fuck is KOTOR? That's an abbreviation. Ignore my ignorance. So listen, guys, the game came out in '03, the original, right? And to put things
Yes,
into perspective, like, let's see, 6, 7, 8, 9. I did not play this game. Sorry.
that's okay. I want to really quick acknowledge what Honey Money brought up earlier. Korean
yeah.
Bayonetta.
Right.
That game, Project Eve. Oh man, I think that game looks terrible.
I don't
Like-
like it. I feel like it's trying too hard to do like a bunch of different things. I thought it was God Eater at first.
Mhm.
Because of
That's the
way
thing. It could be any of those. You could name like 17 different games, and it could have been any of them.
But we see that though from a lot of the games, unfortunately, from like a lot of Korean developers, especially these last couple of uh conferences. We've seen the one that looks like it's a mash of like a bunch of different things. It's like that open world one when you got
Oh,
pets.
Dokuvi.
Yes. Then there was another one too.
That's from Pearl of Abyss, though, and that honestly, I'm kind of into that. I want to see what that game is.
Looks good. But what I'm saying is, you see, it just looks like
Yeah,
there are a
they are
lot
jamming a
of
lot of gameplay elements into it.
different
Yes,
into it. Yeah,
like
it's oh,
Dokuvi, I want to see what that is. This looks much more generic though. Like this
Gonna lie,
looks
as soon as they
like a
started
game out of
speaking,
like the 2000s.
it could be good, but it definitely looks like it's trying to be a lot of different things.
That Lost Soul Aside was one of those games that is
Lost
coming
Soul
out.
Aside.
Was I am
Hold
I
on.
am I misremembering it? I think I'm misremembering a title. Sorry.
yeah, I don't know what that is.
No, okay,
Only-
no, yes, I have seen this. Yes, it reminds me of that in the exact same vein because it's like someone watched a whole lot of anime and was like,
Mhm.
I need to make a game that is as cool as all the cool anime I love. And like that's how you get these games. Lost Soul Side is exactly that.
Mhm.
That also that Wukong Black Myth game that I know has been getting
Yeah.
like a tons of headlines. I think it's in the same vein. Like it looks really good, but it's exuding like this kind of level of look. This has to be the coolest video game that has ever video gamed. Like that's just the energy I get from these. So I don't know. They need to come out to see whether they're actually worth their salt, but they don't.
Right.
They don't convince me based on like their super flashy, polished trailers.
Yeah.
Like they look like there's a lot of puff in there, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Y'all got me in a whole different thing. I'm like, what?
But
We'll say God of War looks very good. I mean, I didn't
Yeah.
think it was going to look any less, but it looks very good. You see, there's some time in between the last game and this game.
yeah, Atreus is a little older.
Yeah, so it definitely looks good. I mean, it's God of War. Nobody, I think anybody was expecting anything than what it is. So
Mhm.
it wasn't like it blew me out the water because I already knew it was gonna look great. The last one looked great. So, yeah.
But is
They got Thor, but no Chris Hemsworth. 0 out of 10. Not playing the game. Just playing.
I mean, a lot of people tilted about the fact that this depiction of Thor is probably more accurate to how the Vikings would have seen Thor
Oh, that's
than
fairly certain.
than Chris
But there's
Hemsworth.
no fat Thor. Disappointed. Not supporting it. I've also never played a God of War game, and I own them
He
all.
was like
so.
that in Valhalla. It looks like the same type of Thor. Whereas
I saw that too. So the thing is that literally what I need to do is just take my PlayStation 3 out and just be like, all right, we're going through the motions, we're playing them all, and then make my decision from there. I'm sure it's still going to be great based off what I saw in the trailer. I actually was really excited for the Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, though I'm not paying
Yes.
for it on full-blown retail. Just because it's more Borderlands and it's totally. I love Tiny Tina as a character. So
but it looks like they're
just
taking a
worked out.
risk with Borderlands, right? Like
Hey, listen.
Borderlands 3 was more Borderlands, and it's like
They
Borderlands is
need-
like an 11-year-old game. Like you need
They
to
need to
change
take-
this up a bit.
They
They
needed
took
to take the
Bunkers and
chances.
Badasses and cranked it up to like 10. Remember Bunkers and Badasses DLC?
Yeah,
for,
the DLC. Yep.
Borderlands 2. They look like it's D&D, but look, you even got like little. It looked like there was some magic going on in there.
Yeah, it was a lot going on there.
Yeah.
But
And
it looks so fantastic though.
Yeah, it looks
Like-
D&D classes too. It doesn't look like Siren and this and that. It looks like you have like D&D classes in the game.
The way I look at it is that Borderlands 3, like 3 months after launch, was already on sale for like half the price, which is never a good indicator. So, I'm all for them going different. What's the worst that can happen? I
But
get it
speaking
on
of
sale for
them-
$20 again? Who cares?
Speaking of them going different, they did choose to keep guns as like the primary. Like it is still a first-person shooter. Like, are you guys kind of disappointed in that? Are you okay with it?
It's very recognizably Borderlands. I think they don't want to lose their grasp on who their core audience is, for because it brings them more easily into this crazy fantasy world. Is if you can still put heavy ordnance in their hands, that you don't have to say now you must use only bows and arrows and swords from now on. So they said no, here's your minigun just to go
Do what you
wild
do.
against a dragon.
Oh, wow. Yep.
Deeb said it in chat. Said Tiny Tina looks like it could be a lot of fun, but I'm cautious because Borderlands gets real boring fast, which is fair. 1,000% can understand that. That's exactly the same stuff I do with when playing Destiny. That's why I fell off of Destiny so hard because it was just like I'm just breaking my right trigger. I should probably do something else. You know what I mean? So like you gotta kind of you pick your battles. You know what I mean? Like if it's up your alley, cool. Borderlands for me, no matter, I was never story based. It was more like this is a lot of guns, and when I play with friends, it's fun. Which is so funny because in real life I'm so anti-gun, but like in the game, it's who cares? It's fun.
Yeah, fake guns are awesome.
Yeah, so
Exactly.
it's that. Did anybody care about? Oh, go ahead.
No. One last thing on Borderlands is like I'm actually okay with them keeping the guns in it because that's kind of my hang up with like fantasy stuff in general. Like I tend to be pushed away when they just go back to that same well of like magic and elves and whatever. The fact that you just put straight up guns in it definitely makes it stand apart. It's like, okay, this is different than Game of Thrones because Jon Snow could have just shot Ramsay in the Battle of the Bastards. You know what I'm saying? So like I like that as a decision. Like, yes, it's very much Borderlands, but it also spits in the face of its setting, and like the fact that they're taking the piss out of that setting is very appealing to me. Like, I like that as an
Yeah.
idea on this
I
on the
agree.
And
surface.
it makes absolute sense for Tina to
Yeah,
keep guns in her
1,000%.
Yeah.
in her D&D session.
In the trailer, she was just like, "And why are there guns? Shut up. Let's keep going." And I'm like, "Okay, Jesus Christ." How did we feel about this is probably the worst thing because it's coming from me. How do we feel about Rainbow Six Extraction?
Oh man.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll try it, but yeah, it's not really
Yeah.
moving the needle for me.
I have the same sentiment as well, which is weird coming from me. But it's not that it's not. Well, it's not that it's. Listen, Rainbow Six is such an acquired taste. You know what I mean? Like, if you think of Rainbow Six, at least in terms of the most modern, like, if you're not thinking back in the day, you're probably thinking of Siege, and that's the first thing that comes to my mind. And I think a lot of people who've had experience would probably say that. So when you go and you see this, and it's already been delayed and renamed, and I can't say really much because I don't want to get fired, but like, it's, it's
could've been a
interesting.
mode for Rainbow Six. Like it didn't have to be a whole separate game.
Yeah,
Yeah, it does seem like that small of a thing, but maybe that's the misconception. Maybe it is a much bigger experience, which is why it needed to be its own game. But it is the same operators, right? Like, it stars the Siege characters, right? Or at least some of them.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember because there's another game that I was playing recently. I was like, isn't this a person from Rainbow? But it's not because I'm dumb and I think they all look the same to me.
Yeah, I mean, and that's part of the problem too. Like, maybe they're not the same characters and they just look like the same characters because it's super generic military shooter guys and gals.
I know. I'm hoping that this is not something I would ever get on launch. You know what I mean? Like, it's something that I probably have to wait until to see what the reviews are gonna look like. Um, but like, if it's always something, my thing is this: anytime I get a chance, and I think it's the same thing that applies with Borderlands. Literally, once you get an opportunity where it's just friends kind of purchased it and they thought that this is really something worthwhile and they need a team, that's usually the strong enough motivated factor. And I've done it before. I've bought it literally with, I think, The Division and Borderlands 2. And Borderlands 2 is a great game, but I was not going to buy it from the get-go. I was just going to wait until it gets to the price that I care for and then pull it. And that's so if this is something that honestly it's almost like a peer pressure buy, sure. But yeah, no, I don't know. It's very much like in the vein of it has something familiar, but also not enough intriguing as of yet from my eyes, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Definitely
can
looks-
see that.
It's definitely for the PvE person. Because they have X Defiant coming out as well. So it's like get all these things based on, the X Defiant is more based on like different, the Division. You have
Like all the Tom
Free
Clancy
Combat.
umbrella.
Yeah. And
Milk Tom Clancy's name.
Gotta get that money, baby.
So Extraction
Didn't
definitely
Ubisoft have a mobile game that was also sort of basically X Defiant
Yeah,
that they
wouldn't be
canceled
surprised.
as soon as
yeah,
they
it got
announced X Defiant?
yeah. It was a mobile thing that mashed up all the Rainbow Six people, and I guess it did bad or something. And they got rid of it.
I don't even know that.
I don't. Yeah, I don't
That's-
know what they're doing.
I don't play mobile as hard enough, but it doesn't sound surprising to be honest. That's how most mobile games feel like to me. It's like, oh, this was cool. Let's capitalize on this, and it does not work most of the time for me.
Okay.
But hold on, before we close up one more thing, I have to ask:
Mhm.
is this the 10th or 20th time we're buying Grand Theft Auto 5 again? Because why the fuck is this in the? No one cares. Oh my god, it's so silly.
Yeah, this did not need to be in the showcase, but
No.
they probably hold so much weight that they're like, hey, look, if you want us to, maybe put some PlayStation logos in our commercials, throw us in the showcase.
You want to make a couple $1 million? Just put us in there. Do it.
Instead of just doing a next gen upgrade like everybody else, let's just sell everybody another game.
That's hilarious.
Well, what do you guys think of Forspoken? This is a brand new IP. We've seen it once before, like a trailer for it. This one showed a little bit more story stuff and gameplay.
I did like
how's
your
it hitting you?
reference to it. I did like your Isekai reference to it. It does feel.
Oh,
tight.
right, yeah. That's basically what it is, yeah. She's like, I'm so sad in my home. Also while sitting on top of a skyscraper. She doesn't like jump off the building, but you kind of get the sense she was thinking about it. So she essentially she dies and then ends up in a fantasy world. So yeah, but like what do you guys think of like the like it's like she has a bracelet that's talking to her. There are also dragons that speak to her, and she seems to have magical powers and can like parkour like nobody's business. Like she's like the Assassin's Creed character on steroids. Like she be going.
Listen, it's Square Enix, right? I trust it. I'll be all right with it. I wouldn't get again one of those things where I'd be apprehensive on launch, but I'm all for it. I saw a cat and she left the Holland Tunnel. That's a win. That's all I need.
I did notice that in all the other trailers Forspoken is when it was still called Project Athia, and then when the title was revealed, it's been very mysterious. Like they haven't really revealed a whole lot of detail about the world or about the main character. She hasn't really spoken except maybe a couple of lines in some of the reveal trailers. And
Really,
now
someone in the chat I remember was complaining that they thought she spoke too much, that she was too chatty.
In this one, they got jokes. They're making it. They're giving it a little injection of personality here, which I'm fine with because I mean I remember when Project Athia was first announced, it was literally just her walking silently around a fantasy world in a cinematic trailer for a few minutes, and so now they're actually trying to give it a little bit more personality. They're trying to inject a little life into it, and I like that a little bit better than just woman runs around fantasy-scapes throwing generic magic at non-contextualized enemies.
Yeah. Something that's identifiable like that makes it always worthwhile. That's why Marvel does the way they do it. Because it's just like, hey, granted, they do it over the fucking head with it. They're like, hey, funny. But, just a little subtle thing right there really makes a difference, especially because I'm not really heavily into that sort of setting. However, that, from what I've seen in the trailer, was enough to be like, this could be on my radar. I probably would want to see more like gameplay, but outside of that, like, okay, Square Enix, do what you got to do.
I mean, the gameplay that they showed to me looks pretty cool. Like, it seems like she has like magical abilities that she can, like, they probably affect enemies in different ways, and then she can mix other magic to make the magic she used in the first place kind of react to it. So like you can kind of combine spells and whatnot.
So like spell break.
Yeah, which is a really fun way to use magic in a game. Mm-hmm. So like I'm kind of down for that. At least for what they've showed so far. And like Rachel, I agree. Like I like that she has that kind of personality. I like that she's not from that world, in which case she can basically echo my sentiments as a player to be like, well, what the, like, this dragon is effing talking to me right now? Like what's happening right now? Like I'm love
talking
stuff
to my
that's
bracelet.
Yes, like that kind of self-aware stuff, like I'm a fan of. So I do hope it kind of elevates, another fantasy world above being very forgettable.
Mm-hmm.
But also the name is terrible. What the hell?
I like Forspoken so far. I like it. I think there's something, in my opinion. Of course, because everything you think is bad. Anyway, Guardians of the Galaxy. Anybody care for that one? Because I'm not wasting my time and money on that one.
We've seen it a couple times already. Like, it looks fine. It looks like it'll be a decent story.
I feel like
the gameplay will probably be boring. That's my take.
Yeah.
I feel like it'll be like a boring game, but an okay Guardians of the Galaxy story.
I've been burnt by the Avengers. I don't need anything further. I'm good. I tried. That's enough.
Anything else sticking out to people? There's that Radiohead thing.
Radiohead
I was on screen for all of 5 seconds.
Yeah, it was a very short trailer, but it opened up with a Radiohead song playing, so I immediately recognized, like, oh, that's Radiohead playing. Okay, what is this? And then it ended, and then it turns out it's some sort of Radiohead-led exhibition. It says Kid A Mentia is what it's called.
Oh, is that what that was? Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
Sorry, part of my language.
So it doesn't make like it's probably not a game.
Yeah.
But why Sony's involved is kind of my question. Like, what does Sony have to even do with this that they allowed it to show up in their showcase? I don't know.
Wait, do you guys think that was the worst trailer that was there? Because to be honest, I think my biggest one, my worst one, and this is probably gonna sound stupid. Everything about Blunt Hunt makes me upset. I don't like it.
Really? Why? The trailer didn't look too bad.
it seems like it's like all preliminary things, and that's not. It's going to be confusing in terms of the audience for a battle royale. Rather, if it was just
Yeah.
something a little more simpler, I think it'd be easier. But like the concept of having vampires and hunting, cool. Everything else, not so much. It's just like there. I was like already immediately off put, and I watched the trailer. I was like, am I being a hater, or is this just legitimately not fucking good? And
Which
I've realized it's just not up my alley.
I will agree that the Vampire the Masquerade world is probably not the best place to set a battle royale, but the mechanics of this as a battle royale is a lot more interesting than a lot of the others I've seen. Like the movement is really good. The gunplay is actually fun. And if they make because there are like NPCs, like there's PVE and PVEP in it.
Okay,
PvPVE.
I
It's
know what you
that.
mean.
Yeah. So if they can
mean-
make the environment enemies a lot more central to like the mix there, I think it'd be a lot of fun. Because like it wasn't that bad when we tried it out in its alpha version for a game night not too long ago. They
Yeah,
added
I
more
didn't.
stuff in it since then.
Oh, well, then maybe I'm just being negative. The thing is that for the way I see it is that when you're playing a battle royale, I want things to be very simple. It doesn't need to
Oh yeah,
be
because
very
you're a
complex.
Fortnite boy. So
Well, no, Fortnite is not simple in the building in that regard. That's very mechanically fucking hard and sound. But like when you play it, like again, it's gonna sound bad coming from me. I don't like hyperscape. I don't know why that's a thing, and I'm not in that demographic. There was also some magic one. It's pretty cool. However, you could
no,
also
that's what
die by
Jeff just mentioned.
Spell break.
Spellbreak,
yeah,
yeah.
Spellbreak. Yeah,
Spellbreak
you
is
know how many times
fun.
it's fun, but however, it's just maybe it's just I just prefer the simplest. Like the thing with Spellbreak is that the first time I played a couple times, I fucking died from falling into like a hole, and I'm like, well, this is dumb. Like I dumped it basically off the map, and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Wait,
Like
can you
that's so.
do that in Spellbreak?
Yeah, well, Spellbreak, I died. Literally, my friend was trying to get me into it, and we were going and we were running away from a battle because I was not ready. My health was low, and I ran through, and I literally jumped off the map.
Was that a glitch? Because I don't know if you can fall. Like there aren't like death pits in that game that I can remember.
Well, then fucking, I don't. Listen, that soured it enough for me. I think I just prefer the
All right, fair
simplistic
enough.
thing of it. I don't know, but if this does end up surprising me, more power to it. You know what I mean?
Okay. I
My
mean, is there
only thought
anything
on
else?
Blood
Oh,
Hunt.
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say my only thought on Blood Hunt is that we just I feel like we can just remove the masquerade from the title because I don't feel like any part of this is compliant with the masquerade at all. That's not a criticism necessarily, just an observation that we're kind of being a little brazen, running around the street, biting people,
Yeah, all
shooting each
right.
other.
Yeah, it's not in tone at all for sure.
Whatever. I mean, if it means we get a vampire themed battle royale, if that's all anybody wants to make, then I got no problem with attaching like the traditional Vampire the Masquerade clans onto it. I really don't. I just think it's funny that it's still called the Masquerade when clearly there's masquerade violations happening all over the place.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, we can move off of the PlayStation stuff and into the Apple versus Epic stuff, or we could wrap things up because we have gone a little bit over time. I don't know. How are you guys feeling?
I'm good with
Okay,
talking about Apple v Epic if you are. I mean,
I gotta.
we don't have to go for as long as we did with the PlayStation
Okay,
showcase.
yeah. So
just,
we'll we'll
Yeah.
try to keep it on the short side, but we'll move on to our final topic for the show. Apple versus Epic has reached a conclusion. Essentially, Apple kind of won most of its points in this case, with the exception of they are now forced to allow any apps to offer links to third-party payment options. So, for example, if we were talking about Fortnite, you could buy V-Bucks as usual within the App Store app, but you would have the option to click a link that would take you to a website outside of the app that would then let you buy V-Bucks outside of Apple's ecosystem, in which case they couldn't claim their 30% cut. So that's sort of a win for like app developers, but essentially Apple can still offer their store and take a 30% cut, which is kind of the face of it. Like that's the first thing people will see and have access to is, paying Apple and giving Apple their cut. And also Apple does not have to allow any apps on the store that it doesn't want. They still maintain full control over that aspect. And they were not labeled as being anti-competitive. Like they're not considered a monopoly in any way, and so they don't necessarily have to change any of their other business practices, for lack of a better word. So Apple kind of came out on top, if we're being honest. Epic does seem to be looking to file an appeal and keep this going. But what are you guys' takes? Like, what do you think this will mean for both companies and, you know, us as consumers?
In South Korea, we already seen there's a law in place to where it was basically the ruling that Epic would have wanted at the end of this, where app stores can't force the 30% on app developers in South Korea.
Mm-hmm.
I believe there's a little bit more to it, but that was the gist of it. And they can't remove any app developers without proper cause or whatever it is. I gotta find the article again. Let's see, I think I posted it.
I mean, if there's anybody I've actually appreciated in this whole mess, it's been the Judge Gonzalez
Yes.
Rogers, because she has been just giving Epic a complete, she's just been wrecking them ever since the complaint started, because she was not, as nobody should have been impressed with the way Epic handled this whole thing, and she was absolutely not impressed with it, by them basically putting something in Fortnite that violated Apple's terms of service, immediately getting removed, and then immediately coming out with an anti-Apple campaign down to the night. They had that ready to go. They were planning for this. And if I could figure that out, a federal judge absolutely could. And she did. And she called them on it repeatedly. I mean, she said things to the Epic representatives like, I don't know what you want to happen here. And she even called them out on the fact that none of this is philosophical. This whole thing about, well, Apple is anti-competitive. It's like, no, this is about two very large companies fighting over who gets to keep a very large amount of money. And she said, this is Epic is not doing this out of the goodness of their heart. They want to go from being a multi-billion-dollar company to a trillion-dollar company. She said something like that, and that's the whole heart of it, is that I like this ruling because she's basically giving Epic a little bit of, it's like, well, I've offered a solution for the philosophical conundrum of Apple being a walled garden. There's a way of fixing it. And Epic's like, no, you were supposed to let our app have its own store where we didn't have to pay Apple. And
Exactly.
she gave them a little bit, just enough so that they would not be able to complain that she gave them nothing. And supposedly in line with what they claimed they wanted, which was, Apple to not be so anti-competitive. That's what they claimed they wanted, but we all know that's not really what they wanted from this ruling.
Yeah, they wanted free reign over Apple's store, and
Yeah.
as harsh as Apple is with its like guidelines and, you know, restrictions and its greed, honestly, it is their store. Like, that's kind of where she seemed to fall on that. She also smartly basically said, like, this doesn't affect like video games as a whole. Like, this whole, like Rachel was saying, this whole conversation about whether this is a game, whether that's a game, like how the Xbox ecosystem works, PlayStation like, no, none of that is relevant here. Like, this is about, you know, the app developers and, you know, how you can charge people for stuff within that platform. Apple's platform is their platform. They can control all of these aspects as they see fit, because people do have the choice to not use it. They could be on Android. They could be on Windows back in the 2010s.
Right.
But yeah, if you are here, you are not stuck on paying Apple that 30%. There is an option. So like, it makes sense. Like, it's a very sensible ruling to kind of solve the heart of this problem, not just for Epic, but for any other app developer on Apple's store. It's just that, yeah, like Rachel was saying, Epic really wanted they wanted to punish Apple for Epic not being able to do what it wanted on their store. And like, it just doesn't make sense.
Which sucks, because there are app developers with legitimate complaints against Apple and Apple's ecosystem, and how much they're actually allowed to keep, in terms of profit for their apps. But because Epic is the one who is going up against them, Epic, who has a lot of skin in the game, and they are not shy. I mean, Tim Sweeney has not been shy about saying, it's like, well, I don't like the fact that they take 30% of all profits. And he has made it very clear that he does not want to give that. He does not want to allow Apple to take that much money away from Epic. And so because this has become a sort of like Epic Games Fortnite issue, it's sort of drowning out the smaller app developers who might legitimately have a complaint there. Because I just don't, I didn't, and I don't think Judge Gonzalez Rogers did either. I didn't take Epic's case as seriously as they probably wanted me to.
Yeah, because it served to benefit them, like, very clearly.
Yeah.
Instead of what they were claiming, it would benefit like kind of just everyone. Because in a way it does, but like no one more so than Epic. Like Epic would
Yeah.
win the most, and then like maybe
Yeah.
some other companies would also kind of get their hands freed. But yeah, like it was very selfish. When
Yeah.
as they were trying to market it as being selfless, like we're doing this for the good of the community or whatever. So like that's I think that's what just really makes you want to root against them at the end of it. But
Hard to root
Jeff,
for anybody in this.
exactly. Like Jeff, Will, you guys have stuff you want to add?
You know where I'm siding, baby.
I don't
posted the
actually.
South Korean.
What game do I play? Use your fucking noggin, buddy.
Wow.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
posted
do you
the
play
South
it on
Korean-
iPhone?
I've played it before with the controller, and I rather it be that I don't have to go to an external link because if I have to go through Apple Pay, it's annoying, and I'd rather it stay within the Epic Game Store system, so that way when I switch from whatever console, I can play whatever I want, and not have it where I have 200 V-Bucks here on my iPhone, but I have 400 on my PlayStation. It's very silly. I agree with all the sentiment of Rachel and what you guys are saying. Listen, I'm not fucking arguing that these huge companies need more money. Fuck that garbage. I'm not trying to hear that. It's rather so that you don't really have alternatives, and that's annoying. Apple's like, oh, well, yeah, you can go elsewhere. No, the fuck you can't. And most of the mobile market share is within Apple. And if you got an Android, you're usually stuck within the Google Play, unless you're doing a side loading situation, which Google specifically says if you especially have their phones, that's usually against like their Google whatever Pixel. So if you go against that, that screws up your warranty internally. So I'm not trying to hear all that. And some of these other game stores or these other app stores are not beneficial to the consumer. So when you say you have alternatives, it's not really true. In reality, I feel like I'm really stuck within the ecosystem. Apple's like that too. They pressure you from the get-go, whether it be the iMessage, FaceTime, this, that, and the third. I'm not saying I'm a user, so I am a hypocrite at the same time. However, it is very, very annoying at the fact that it's a claim that it's not. I don't agree that um Apple like needs to be taking 30% of the kind of like what Rachel's saying. Dude, there's smaller developers that's been kicking ass and they get their ass handed to them in terms of finances because that's such a large part of what their profit looks like. And
Yeah.
then there's a ton of people who, if you're using the what you call if you're playing Fortnite and stuff like we don't care about the battle internally. We care about where things can be fantastic like in terms of our user experience. So if I'm playing here and something comes out, like a brand new skin comes out, and I want to spend the money that I have or the season pass, and I can't because of the fact that my funds are separated per console, that's a bit idiotic. I don't like that. Um, so it's a little ass backwards, and I know it sounds like I'm on Epic's side. I'm more on the consumer side at this regard because of the fact that it's not like I'm gonna stop playing Rocket League. It's not like I'm gonna stop playing Fortnite unless they did something absolutely atrocious like Activision and Blizzard, because I'm literally not playing Call of Duty because of that shit. Or like Overwatch, which is killing me because I love Overwatch. But like you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm on the side of the
No,
consumer. That's all I can
I
say.
do know what you mean. Jeff, did you want to add something before I go into some of the
Oh no.
chat comments?
Mm-mm.
No?
Mm.
Well, Lampy is trying to stress that the court is clear that Apple can still get their 30% that they're entitled to for purchases processed outside the IAP, though that's a license fee and not a payment process fee. They'll just have to get it via auditing, etc., and can now tell people to purchase on the site, etc. If it's activating things on the iOS app, Apple still get their cut. So let me see if I can understand this myself better. Like, even though there's a third-party link to a different store outside of like a store that uses Apple Pay or whatnot, you're saying Apple still gets a cut, like even though it's on a different store. In which case, that would mean in order for the developer to not pay that 30% cut, they'd have to raise the price 30% on this third-party store? Like, is that what you're saying? Because that's not the vibe I got from the article. Lambert says, yes, if it activates a feature in an iOS application. I don't know. I'm not sure that that's true, and or what you mean by activating a feature. Because in this instance, we're talking about like buying like a digital currency, like V-Bucks or something, right? Like if you buy a certain amount of a currency within the app, Apple gets a 30% cut of that. Whereas if you are able to buy that outside of the Apple ecosystem and it just gets added to your account from outside of it, you're bypassing Apple's cut because you bought it outside of their ecosystem. But like, yeah, if you buy it through the app, then they would take that 30% cut. Like, that's how I'm understanding it. But correct me if I'm wrong. A Movie says, I thought Fortnite was free.
Nope, it's a figment of your imagination. You're paying money, baby.
Free to play carries
free to
a
enjoy.
lot of connotations. Lamp says, if you buy it elsewhere and you're using it on the iOS application, the court document said that Apple was still entitled to collect its cut.
All right, well then.
Yeah, I need to reread that and double check.
Yeah, I'll have to check the.
Because then what would even be the point?
I'm not doubting you, Lampy.
Yeah, like as a license fee. Oh, so you're saying they have to change the terminology for it, and then they can still just collect 30% anyway?
That doesn't surprise me. Just to be clear, I'm not saying ridiculous. Apple is blameless in this. I'm really not, because again, they are also a very large corporation that would like to keep a very large amount of money. So just to be clear, they're not pure in all of this either. And like Will said, if there's anybody who is going to suffer for this, it's going to be the people who want to play Fortnite or whatever, or the small app developers, not Apple or Epic. So no matter which side the judge ended up coming down on, unfortunately. So yeah, they're not the only upper hand Apple can claim in this situation is that they didn't start it.
Lamp says, it's never been a payment processing fee. It's always been a licensing fee. But the media has been really badly reporting on the court papers. Rachel has clearly read the papers, though.
Thank you, Lampy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot to dig into. And it kind of renders that the one count where Epic did win over Apple meaningless, if that's the case. If they're saying like, okay, so Apple has to allow you to make a store, but they still make the same amount of money when people use that store. Yeah, that really doesn't serve a purpose, like whatsoever. So like, I mean, if that's the case, then yeah, like Apple essentially train wrecked this whole court proceeding and will take no losses whatsoever. But that's not what any of the articles I read said. So I don't know if they're just wrong, because they were basically getting at maybe it won't be a big hit to Apple, but like they can probably see some profits go down by like something like 1 to 4%. It sounded like, because most people probably won't go to a third-party store. They'll just keep paying via the app like they usually do, because they don't know anything else is there, or won't care that you can go to an external link to make a payment. It won't matter to them unless there's like some kind of significant discount that's advertised there.
The one last $1 million question: do we think Fortnite's coming back to iOS?
I think Apple is super petty, and I don't think that they will let it on the store, especially after the judge said like, hey, they can do what they want with their ecosystem. They're going to be like, hey, look, you can bring it back, but all the skins have to be Steve Jobs.
Not even gonna entertain that idea.
Something stupid like that. Yeah, I don't see Apple just letting them back. Like not without Epic having to pay for it in some way. Like either they're gonna charge them extra, or like I don't know. They're gonna make them hurt if it does come back. And if they can't force them to do anything with it coming back, they're just not gonna let it come back, because it's their playground to play on. Lamby says the court did find Epic breached contract, and Apple have the right to terminate any Epic Games contract now, and didn't need to put Fortnite back on. So like there you have it. Like the court says that they can be as petty as they want. And that also goes for the whole license thing with the Unreal Engine for app developers via Apple. Like that's a thing that could really end up biting Epic if Apple decides to be petty and like destroy that contract, which is something that they were gonna do, and the court said they couldn't until all this stuff was cleared out. But now that it's over, they might pull the trigger on that too. So we'll just have to see how that plays out. But anything left to say in regards to Epic versus Apple and its stunning conclusion? Because I don't think it'll be the last we hear from these big giant baby companies.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's hard to feel sorry for either party on this situation, especially because I don't play a lot of mobile games to begin with. I don't play Fortnite. Also, whether this company gets $1 billion or this company gets $1 billion, it doesn't really benefit us as the consumer that I can see as of yet. So, no.
So you don't believe in trickle down economics?
Yes.
Well, a little Reagan era political joke for the folks at home. Anyway, that's gonna do it. That's gonna do it for Signature Show episode 39. I hope you guys enjoyed. Rachel, why don't you let folks know where they can find you and some of the stuff you'll be working on in the near future?
You can find me at Rachel Kaiser on Twitter, my name up here, and all one handle. And everything that I write goes through there. So my personal writing and all the writing I do for The Escapist, you can find all of it on my Twitter. So if you want to find anything that I'm doing, even if I'm just screwing around, if I ever start streaming again, who knows? Maybe it'll happen. But if I do, it'll all be on my Twitter.
Nice. How about you, Jeff? Where can people find you? What you working on this week?
So this week we'll be back with Monday Night Siege. Come through, come play. Probably won't do Guardian Thursday, but we'll probably switch that over to Wednesday, depending on what's going on. So definitely come out and play some Destiny.
Nice. How about you, Will? What are you working on? Where can people find you?
I'm a loser. I don't do anything. Nope, you can follow me at Will C Blogs, Twitter. That's usually the only thing I push, though I say I'm everywhere. You can follow me everywhere if you choose to interact. I always look for people to converse with, especially as I try to diversify what I play. But yeah, same thing with The Escapist. If you're looking up anything that's there, it will be posted there as well. I usually try to promote. And yeah, I'm doing super secret stuff at Ubisoft. I'm just keeping it as that. That's all I can say.
We'll find out more about that.
Congrats again on that new position.
Thank you so much.
You can find me at SigmaGears9. You're currently on my Twitch, but you can also check my Twitter to see what else I'm doing throughout the week. Head over to the Open Party channel this afternoon, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be doing Super Smash Sunday. We had our Bounty Hunter tournament last weekend, which was a rousing success. Thanks to everybody who participated in that. I've sent out the prizes that I owed to the one who won my bounty, Cool Cats. He also won everybody else's bounty, by the way. And also congrats to Ox King, who basically came in first and took the Open Party Pro Controller, which was the grand prize. So great fun. Hopefully Ox will be back later today so I can get some revenge, because he's got to go down. But that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks to everybody in the chat. We love you guys. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.